And let me say this with all sincerity. France will be a very poor and wretched country if they disconnect from Africa, because Africa is the one that breathes for France to stay alive.
What they call neocolonialism is colonialism at an
Absolutely,
economic level. And African nations have actually been suffering because of that lack of integration. They have not been able to set some political powers over in order to be able to unite. And so when you look at it, you would want to say that Assejofor, Kwame Nkrumah was a prophet. He actually prophesied because he spoke what he spoke and warned his fellow leaders during that particular great conference, and they failed to heed to what he said, has resulted to the same thing he warned them about. He told them, if we do not work for our unity and we do not unite, then we'll be facing a greater challenge tomorrow, which will be another dimension of colonialism. And this one will not be in relation to coming to, it will be political, economical. And we have been economically, we are completely economically dependent on Europe, and on presently now we are talking about China, because if you look at the whole map of Africa, you discover China is painting it red.
A bit of history, Gina. If you look at it critically, when the Europeans came to Africa to exploit and to explore the resources of Africa, there were certain communities in Africa that resisted some European powers. For instance, like the Battle of Adwa in 1896 with the Ethiopian against the Italians. The Ethiopian defeated the Italians. If you go to the case of Samori Touré, there was a resistance, the Scotch Earth policy that he used against the French. If you go to South Africa, you will see resistance that were mounted against the forces of the Europeans that came to Africa. You go to Kenya, the Mau Mau revolt, you will see a resistance to some capacity. What I want to say is this: Africans should get back to those methods which they used in ancient times to confront certain European powers and conquer them, and then improvise on them. For instance, in the communities in Africa, like the Germano-Bangwa War, the Germans didn't find it very easy in that environment. They went to the Germano-Manfie War, where you had the glorious battle in Sanankan. It wasn't easy. They're as local and primitive as those people were in those days. They were able to resist the whites with their sophisticated weapons. I think the Africans should get back to the roots of all these places that were able to resist this European power to some extent, then ask their strategy, because we need to develop what we have at a very primitive stage to become sophisticated. Now, if we learn how to do it, because we cannot be taking arms from Europe for security. They created those arms, and they have the antidote to those arms. If we take those arms to fight them back tomorrow, they have the antidote, they will conquer us. Russia will never sell you a gun that does not have the antidote to the gun. We should be able to create things in Africa that they are not even aware of what it looks like. So by the time we are launching it again, because the only thing that dominates, the European dominate us, is in the area of arms. That's why we are afraid of them. Apart from arms, Europe has nothing. I mean, nothing to compare with Africa. And that is where I think Africa should work more in developing ammunitions that the whites should not even have an understanding of the components. Okay. If we work on that and build our own security devices and strong ammunitions against the European, I think that when we face them in battles, we are not going to be taking things lightly. And one thing I have to say is this: Africa is more populated than Europe. And if a European country is coming to attack, for instance, like what they did to Gbagbo, if all the other African countries rally behind Cote d'Ivoire, France will not have survived. So I think we have a problem here in division, as well as we are not making use of our own home-based productions. Okay. That's what we have to do right now. I think the Africans have to get back to the people who defeated some of those whites in those days. Even though they had sophisticated weapons, we use local weapons, but strategies, and conquer them. They should go back and learn those war tactics and improve on our security measures. Okay. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need Europeans here.
Okay.